people that are meant to be elders in my life aren't trustworthy. So I've cultivated, a lack of trust in my life. And so I'm having to lean into, how do I learn to trust, So, and these are just micro examples, but they mean a lot to me because I'm cultivating this in all of my relationships with my staff, sitting in front of someone and giving them feedback that to someone you love and care about, outside of work, but then having to critique their performance. That's very difficult. And who am I to say, a lot of the time I struggle with that, who am I to give you feedback on your, and we believe in the sovereignty of our staff. So it is difficult for me to sometimes, pull them up on things and stuff like that. And I think those things in SuperFeast have been such a huge positive growth experience for me, and in like understanding leadership and reflecting on leadership styles and looking at where, I fall into, we call it like below the line, but, I'll get frustrated. And then instead of, slowing down, taking a breath and trying to articulate what's going on, I go into like a frustrated, kind of stubborn, almost a tantrum mode where I'm just like, no, this isn't, and it's like, you just shut off. You shut off from everyone else in the room. You've lost communication. Everyone else is going into, survival patterns. So they're all shutting down and you've made no progress. So it's, you've got to come back to, all right, well, I'm responsible for the energy I'm bringing to the space. I'm responsible for what's going on here. And this is not a productive pattern, So these are things that come up for us all the time. And, business is such a dojo. We say this all the time, relationships are a dojo. You're going in with your best intention and then you're going to be triggered and you're going to be pushed and you have to practice. You just have to keep practicing and then have, I think, the space and time to self-reflect and, kind of work out, well, what am I responsible for and what's mine and what, can I let the other person carry? Yeah. And that's where yoga fits in for me because I really think of it as an opportunity, I suppose, to return to me before all of the layers of personality and performance are kind of put on me, or I put them on myself. And that, you say natural yoga, and it's a sense of who am I at my core, at the very center of myself without any of this kind of holographic projection that I need to use to get through life. Like I need to be Tahnee, the yoga teacher. Sometimes I need to be Tahnee, the mother. Sometimes I need to be Tahnee, the lover. Sometimes, I have to do this. Mm-hmm. But if I buy into any of those too much, I'm going to end up, pretty unhappy because it's a facade. It's like a fake, it's a fake way to live. It's not authentic. So
most people in the world live that way.
Look, and it's easier, like I definitely don't blame them. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, like to never question anything. Like I get it. Like I totally get it. Like la, 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 like it's fine if that's how you want to live. But I just couldn't. And I've been like that since I was a little kid. It doesn't fit for me to not ask questions and not, try and, when you were speaking before, all I'm feeling is like goosebumps and electricity. And, it's like, why wouldn't you want to open up to that experience in your body of like connection? And you don't need to be face to face with someone to connect, and that's been a huge thing for me with this current time with, Zoom, but I've had some incredible, authentic, powerful connections. And I wouldn't recognize them without my yoga training because it's taught me how to be in my body while I'm, wearing a mask. And it's taught me how to be sensitive to like, I call it chi or prana, like the energy moving in the body and, these kinds of rivers or flows and currents of energy that we all have that we just don't pay attention to because we're not taught. And we are all taught very much. I'm reading a lot of Steiner's work right now because my daughter's turning 5 and he talks so much about the children and how they, I don't know 100% about Steiner. I'm just exploring him, but like what he says about children, I think is so relevant. He's like, they come in, they're these little, soul beings who don't understand what this body is and these big reactions and these clumsiness and all of this stuff. It's, imagine you've just been given a meat suit and asked to walk around like it's tricky, right? Yeah. And then we put them into like school and we start trying to like put like complex kind of like letters are symbols, right? They're a code for something and we're going to put that on a child. Exactly. We're going to put that on a child at 5. And, back in the day, all of those runes reflected nature, right? So we used a mountain or a river or, like chi in Chinese character is like a grain of rice being cooked, and then that's like producing energy. And so that, so energy literally is like food. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? So, but we've lost that kind of organic and natural relationship with our symbols. So we're trying to force children to learn symbols and, and kind of math and all these things. And it's like, well, no, we're taking them away from the whole, from the beginning. And that's not in service to their spiritual development or their, human development. So, and that's, I think, what I've come to full circle without having that education as a child. But I need to start from the whole and kind of work out. Otherwise, it's so easy just to be in your head all the time and to rationalize everything. And that's the herbal work that we do. Like, we struggle a lot in the space that we're in because everyone wants to know what percentage of beta glucans and, and we get it. Like, I know that people want good quality product and that's their kind of entry to that. And I hear them, but it's like, what about like the relationship the people who produce this plant have with this plant? Like, what about its relationship with the atmosphere and the sun and the elements? What about how it plays in your body? Like, what about your personal relationship with, with imbibing this being? Because it's a being. It's not, it's not like a brown pile of herbs. It's like it's a being, and it's going to come in and it's going to work with you. And I mean, I took Reishi for the first time and I was like, well, hello, like this being is supporting me in my heart, like in my, in my practice, in my openness, in my, and I was like, well, this is a completely different experience to me, to taking something from a naturopath that's like in a little capsule that it's like I'm having a relationship with this product and this entity, this energy that's bigger than, a little herb that I sort of conceptualized as being good for my immune system or whatever.